Imagine this. Today you go to bed earning a salary of $150,000 a year as a software engineer. Nice apartment, nice car, the feeling that there will always be jobs in the tech sector. And less than a year later, you're living in a trailer, delivering food on the streets of New York and selling your belongings online just to afford groceries. This isn't a movie, it's Sean's real life. At 42 years old, with 20 years of industry experience, he sent over 800 job applications and barely gets any responses. Some of the few interviews he's managed to get weren't even with humans, but with AI agents. And whether you like it or not, what's happening to him is a preview of what could be coming for millions of people. The big question in this video is simple and brutal. How do you know if AI is about to take your job, and what can you do today to avoid becoming the next Sean? Stay until the end because I'll give you a specific checklist to measure your real risk and a 5-step plan to go from I might be crushed by the Great Displacement to AI is used to make me more valuable, not less. First, think about Sean, a software engineer with 2 decades of programming experience, 6-figure salary, and the classic belief, if you study programming, you're set for life. He wasn't a rookie. He had already survived 2 crises, 2008 and the pandemic. Both times he was laid off and found another job within months, until the 3rd crisis hit. Last April, he was let go again. His company had bet on the metaverse, and suddenly the focus shifted elsewhere. Artificial intelligence, agents, giant models, all the pieces on the board are being rearranged. And Sean thinks, well, no big deal. I've been through this before. I'll update my resume, send applications, and in a few months I'll be at another company. Spoiler, it didn't happen. Today he lives in a mobile home, not because it's his nomadic dream lifestyle, but because it's all he can afford. To pay for gas and food, he makes deliveries with apps like DoorDash and sells his belongings online. Used laptops, household items, and whatever he has on hand. All that to earn just a few $100s a month, a ridiculous fraction of what he earned before. And yet he's not an AI hater. Quite the opposite, he defines himself as an AI maximalist. That said, I should mention there's a free AI ebook and my course in the description, so check them out. He says, if artificial intelligence can really do a better job than me, I'm not going to feel bad about being replaced. The problem isn't the technology, it's how companies are using it. Because in theory, AI could enable a team of 10 people to accomplish 1,000 times more. But in practice, what many companies are doing is, if one developer with AI does the work of 10, they keep just that one, and the rest get fired. Sean calls it the Great Displacement and says it hurts. The Great Displacement is already underway. It's not something from the future. It has already begun. And here's the uncomfortable part. Sean isn't a rare case. He's a preview of what's already happening on a large scale. And now let's get to that part. While you watch this video, there's a statistic circulating that almost no one is explaining properly. In the United States alone, by 2025, companies have announced more than 1 million layoffs. Exactly 1,099,500 people. And October was the most brutal month in the last 20 years. In a single month, there have been 153,000 cuts across all sectors: tech, logistics, energy, banking, retail, media, consulting, a little bit of everything. And here comes the key fact. Of all these layoffs, more than 48,000 were explicitly attributed to artificial intelligence. And over 31,000 were announced in October alone due to AI and automation. We're not talking about factory robots from decades ago, but generative AI, language models, agents that answer emails, write code, draft reports, and more. Look at some examples from tech companies you surely know. Amazon cutting thousands of jobs while claiming AI allows them to be more agile. Microsoft and Meta adjusting their workforce and raising performance standards. Platforms like Chegg admit that AI and reduced Google traffic have sunk part of their business, eliminating hundreds of jobs. Giant consulting firms. McKinsey, for example, has cut around 200 internal tech roles that aren't client-facing consultants. These are support roles, back office, internal tech, which they now claim can be handled by AI. Logistics companies like UPS plan to cut 20,000 jobs while automating centers and reducing human labor dependency. Cost-cutting remains the top reason for layoffs, but AI is now the second most cited reason. And watch out for this, because 2 things get mixed up here. Layoffs truly caused by AI, like companies automating customer service and no longer needing dozens of people answering tickets, or firms replacing part of their internal support team with agents that handle documentation, contracts, and reports. And then there's AI washing, which is blaming artificial intelligence when other factors are involved, like overhiring after the pandemic, economic fears, tariffs, interest rates, and massive data center and chips that force cuts in other areas. Saying it's because of AI sounds modern and convincing to investors, but for someone leaving with a cardboard box, it doesn't matter if the boss's PowerPoint said artificial intelligence or cost cutting. The feeling on the street is different. They're using this to fire people. So the question arises, can AI really do all these jobs, or is it just an excuse? The reality is less comfortable than a simple yes or no, because AI can already do much more than you think, but it's not yet being fully utilized everywhere. And this raises another question. Do you have time to react, or is it already too late? Let's look at what AI can and cannot do yet. So let's get practical about this. A team at Mead has created what they call a digital twin of the US labor market. They've simulated over 150 million workers with 32,000 different skills across nearly 1,000 job types. And they compared these tasks with what AI can already do today using current technology at a reasonable cost. The result? AI is already technically capable of performing tasks equivalent to 11.7% of the labor market. Not only could it someday, but it already can, and at a price that competes with human wages. That's roughly equivalent to $1.2 trillion in salaries. But here's the key. That 11.7% doesn't mean tomorrow 11.7% of people will be out of work. It means from a technical and economic standpoint, AI can already perform these tasks. Whether companies know this, dare to act, and decide to implement it aggressively is another matter. For now, where is the impact most noticeable? Especially in repetitive, high-volume cognitive tasks like writing and reviewing texts, summarizing documents, drafting contracts or reports, performing basic data analysis, writing or reviewing standard code, generating content previously done by junior staff. We're not talking about replacing all doctors, but rather removing specific components from many jobs. Here's a point rarely explained well. Your job title is just a label. Your actual job consists of tasks. AI doesn't ask itself, I'm going to replace the marketing analyst position. AI asks, can I perform these 10 tasks that occupy most of this person's time? And there are three main types of tasks. Tasks that are 100% automatable today, like drafting emails, translating text, summarizing a 20-page article, writing a first draft of a post, suggesting ad variations, generating boilerplate code. Mixed tasks, AI plus human, analyzing data with business context, adapting text for a specific audience you know well, designing strategies from reports, preparing important client negotiations. Or tasks difficult to automate, like persuading someone in a live meeting, leading a team through real conflicts, caring for patients in person, making complex physical diagnoses, repairing things with your hands in the real world. The problem is when your workday is filled mostly with things from the first category. And that's where you and I come in right now. Since you're in AI's crosshairs, let's do a quick audit together. If you can, grab a pen and paper or open a note on your phone, and if not, do it mentally, but do it. Step 1 is, think about your typical work week, not your title, but what you actually do. Make a list of your top 10 tasks. For example, if you're a programmer, writing new functions, fixing bugs, reviewing others' code, writing documentation, product meetings, etc. If you're in marketing, drafting emails, creating ad copy, analyzing campaigns, preparing presentations. If you're in customer service, responding to tickets, calling customers, updating databases. Do it your own way. Step 2, for each task, ask an AI model like ChatGPT if it could already do this task reasonably well with some supervision. If the answer is yes, mark that task with an A for automatable today. If the answer is I could help but I'd need close supervision, mark it MM for mixed. And if you feel that artificial intelligence can do little right now, mark an H for human. Step 3, count how many A's, M's, and H's you have. If more than 50% of your tasks are A's, you're in the red zone. It doesn't mean you'll be fired tomorrow, but your position is tempting for a company looking to cut costs with AI. If you have between 30 and 50% A tasks, you're in the yellow zone. There's risk, but also a huge opportunity if you become the person who masters AI in your role. And if less than 30% are A's, you're in the green zone. For now, your risk of total replacement is lower, but AI will still affect many of your M tasks. If you're starting to sweat because your list has many A's, good. Not because I want to scare you, but because you're ahead of millions who keep saying, bah, this is just hype. And the good news is that the next step isn't to pray, it's to act. So I'm going to give you a 5-step plan. Let's go with what I promised at the beginning. A 5-step plan to avoid becoming the next victim of the Great Displacement. Step 1. It's a personal risk map. You now have your task list with A, M, and H, and this is your risk map. Now for a small adjustment, arrange your tasks from most time-consuming to least. If 70% of your workday is spent on A tasks that can be automated, it's like your house is built on a beach with rising tides. Your first goal is clear. Reduce time spent on automatable tasks and increase time on mixed and human-centered tasks. You don't need to change careers tomorrow, just change what you do within your current profession. Step 2. From being threatened by AI to becoming an AI orchestra conductor. If your job has many automatable tasks, you have two options. Ignore AI and let others decide for you, or become the best at using and directing it. The second option is much more interesting. What does it mean to be an AI orchestra conductor? It means letting AI do the heavy lifting, first drafts, summaries, translations, tests, etc. You handle what AI still can't do well, determining what's useful, providing context, correcting, connecting ideas, talking to people. Quick examples. If you're a programmer, you use AI to generate repetitive functions, unit tests, and documentation. But you focus on designing architecture, understanding business needs, and reviewing quality. If you're a copywriter or marketer, you use AI to generate multiple headline versions, but you decide which ones fit your audience and brand. You use AI to analyze campaign data, but you choose the strategy. You're in customer service, letting chatbots handle simple inquiries, while you specialize in complex cases, VIP clients, and emotional situations where machines fall short. The goal is simple. Make your current or future boss see you as someone who amplifies the team with AI, not someone who could be replaced by it. And step 3 is expanding your portfolio toward human-centered tasks. Artificial intelligence is pushing value in two directions. Upward, strategy, creativity, decision-making, human relationships. Or downward, manual labor, physical work, boots on the ground jobs. What remains static in the middle faces the greatest risk. Ask yourself, what could I do in my field that involves more client interaction, decision-making, leadership, and creativity? Engage more with business teams, participate in product design. If you're in marketing, you can focus more on brand strategy, customer interviews, qualitative research. If you're in finance or legal, you can move from filling forms to reviewing complex cases, joining key conversations with leadership. The closer you get to tasks where trust, negotiation, and responsibility matter, the harder it is for someone to say, let AI handle this and we'll reduce headcount. Also, as step 4, you can be selective about where you work. Not all companies will use AI the same way. Some companies are already clearly saying, we'll use AI to cut costs wherever possible. Those are factories of future Sean's, while others see AI as a way to empower their teams, not eliminate them. When looking at job offers, pay attention to how executives talk about AI, if they invest in employee training, hire new AI-related roles, or just make cuts. You can't always choose the perfect company, but you can avoid ones that clearly see AI just as a cost-cutting tool. Step 5 would be to build your safety net and transferable skills. Finally, something Sean wishes he had done earlier is to have a backup plan ready. That means two things. Transferable skills like written and oral communication, critical thinking, quickly learning new tools, project management, understanding basic business metrics. And these skills are valuable across many industries, not just in your current position. A realistic, non-dramatic plan B would be looking at what nearby sector might need your existing skills, what hybrid job could support you while transitioning, or what specific training, not an expensive master's degree, but maybe a technical course, could lead to a more secure or better paying position. In the description, you'll find access to a free ebook and my AI course, in case you want to check it out, and it's what you're looking for. It's not about living in fear, but rather trying not to depend on just one option. Obviously, it's not as simple as I'm making it sound in this video, and will require more effort on your part to adapt to the changes happening in society. But the reality is, you don't have much choice. If AI is really putting pressure on your industry, the sooner you embrace it or switch to a sector that isn't being disrupted, the better off you'll be. Because the reality is that the way things are heading, it seems that the future, sooner or later, will arrive. Finally, I want to talk about 3 possible futures. There's a quote from Geoffrey Hinton, one of the fathers of artificial intelligence, that I really like. He says thinking about the future of AI is like driving in fog. You can see the next few meters clearly, but 10 kilometers ahead you can't see anything. Even so, we can imagine 3 scenarios and you can decide which one you want to be in. Scenario 1 would be AI as an excuse for massive cutbacks, companies automating everything that they can lead to disoriented, angry workers and societies with growing inequality without considering the human impact. In scenario 2, AI serves as a productivity tool where companies use it to help the same people do more things and do them better. Repetitive jobs disappear, but new roles in coordination, supervision, and design are created. Or scenario 3, where AI drives entirely new jobs that don't even exist yet. It's like the internet. It destroys some things, but creates whole new industries. You can't control which scenario will dominate, neither can I, nor even the world's most powerful executives, but you can control who you are when that scenario becomes reality in your sector. You might be the person who realized too late, thinking, my job is special and this won't affect me. Or the person who, when this accelerates, has already been working hand in hand with AI and people for years, not competing against it. And in conclusion, let's return to our initial question. How can you tell if AI is about to take your job, and what can you do today to stay in the game? The answer now is much more concrete. You know you're at risk when you look at your tasks, not your job title, and see that AI could already do more than half of them. You know what to do when you accept this reality without denial. Become an orchestrator of AI in your work. Shift your time to human tasks. Choose companies that complement rather than just cut. And build skills that serve you even if you change sectors. Sean is a warning. You can still write a different story. So instead of just leaving you with a sense of fear, I've included a free ebook in the description along with a quick action challenge. Here it is. In the next 24 hours, make a list of 10 tasks and categorize them as automatable, mixed, or human only. Identify which tasks are most automatable and start optimizing them to take less time. Focus on making your work more human or hybrid rather than purely automatable, because if your entire job can be automated, you'll eventually be replaced. Finally, if you know someone who says, my job is untouchable, or AI will never do what I do, send them this video. Better they get a little upset now than wake up in a few years living in a trailer like Sean.